isn't. It makes clear who does what when it comes to deciding presidential elections. You see, because in our system of government, presidents are not directly elected. They're chosen by presidential electors. And the Constitution makes very clear under Article 2, Section 1, that the states shall appoint presidential electors according to procedures that their legislatures develop. Then comes the 12th Amendment. It explains what we're doing here today in the Capitol. It explains that the President of the Senate, the Vice President of the United States, shall open the ballots, and the votes shall then be counted. It's those words that confine, define, and constrain every scrap of authority that we have in this process. Our job is to open and then count. Open, then count. That's it. That's all there is. Now, there are, of course, rare instances in which multiple slates of electors can be submitted by the same state. That doesn't happen very often. It happened in 1960, it happened in 1876. Let's hope it doesn't ever happen again. In those rare moments, Congress has to make a choice. It has to decide which of the electoral votes will be counted and which will not. That did not happen here. Thank heavens, and let's hope that it never does. Now, many of my colleagues have raised objections or had previously stated their intent to raise objections with regard to these. I've spent an enormous time on this issue over the last few weeks. I've met with lawyers on both sides of the issue. I've met with lawyers representing the Trump campaign, reading everything I could find about the constitutional provisions in question. And I've spent a lot of time on the phone with legislators and other leaders from the contested states. I didn't initially declare my position because I didn't yet have one. I wanted to get the facts first, and I wanted to understand what was happening. I wanted to give the people serving in government in the contested states the opportunity to do whatever they felt they needed to do to make sure that their election was properly reflected. I spent an enormous amount of time reaching out to state government officials in those states, but in none of the contested states, no, not even one, did I discover any indication that there was any chance that any state legislature or secretary of state or governor or lieutenant governor had any intention to alter the slate of electors. That being the case, our job is a very simple one. This simply isn't how our federal system is supposed to work. That is to say, if you have concerns with the way that an election in the presidential race was handled in your state, the appropriate response is to approach your state legislatures, first and foremost. These protests, hearing from those who have raised concerns, they should have been focused on their state capitals, not their nation's capital. Because our role is narrow, our role is defined, our role is limited. Yes, we are the election judges when it comes to members elected to our own body. And yes, the House of Representatives, they're the judges of their own races there. We also have the authority to prescribe, as a Congress, rules governing the time, place, and manner of elections for senators and representatives. There is no corresponding authority with respect to presidential elections. None whatsoever. It doesn't exist. Our job is to convene, to open the ballots, and to count them. That's it. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
Strong words from Republican Senator Mike Lee of Utah, and you see Vice President Pence overseeing the certification of the electoral votes. This whole process was interrupted earlier today when protesters stormed the Capitol on a very violent and black day in American history, and you heard both Republicans and Democrats condemn those protesters, and you heard future Majority Leader of the Senate, Chuck Schumer, not only condemn the protesters, but condemn the president, saying he had a hand in those protests today because of his rhetoric. So this debate will continue throughout the evening, but you also heard Mitch McConnell, Elizabeth, the current majority leader, say there will be a vote tonight, and the new president will be confirmed.
And we will watch this, of course, closely throughout the evening. But we will take a break now, and Queen 6 News will return in just a moment. Welcome back on this busy and historic news day, and back to local headlines. As in Washington, we're now getting a closer look tonight at who is next in line to get the vaccine following healthcare workers. We go now to our Jacqueline Abad. She joins us live tonight with a timeline on when you or your loved ones might be eligible to get it. Jacqueline?
Elizabeth, Washington health officials estimate that later this month they will start the next phase of vaccinations. Now, as part of that next phase, all people the age of 70 and above will be eligible. But right now they are focusing on healthcare workers, first responders, and long-term care facility residents.
This is positive news because vaccines are our true roadmap to true recovery from this pandemic in our state.
Washington state has already received over 500,000 doses of vaccine. So far, more than 126,000 have been administered to those frontline workers and long-term care facility residents. So, who's next? Phase 1B is broken into 4 tiers. First, in B1.
All people age 70 and older and people age 50 and older who live in multi-generational households.
They are followed by high-risk critical workers who are 50 years or older, who work in congregate settings like agriculture and grocery stores. Then those over the age of 16 who have 2 or more underlying health conditions will be eligible. And in April, Washington State Health hopes to vaccinate people, staff, and volunteers in congregate living settings. So that's correctional facilities, those who are experiencing homelessness, who have access to those settings, and group homes for people with disabilities.
These are really tough decisions. We wish there was vaccine right away for all. We have created these phases to make sure we are distributing vaccine in an equitable way to protect those in our state who are most at risk.
But it's important to note we are not in phase 1B just yet.
We'll get there to phase 1B later in January. And right now, our vaccine providers are currently busy taking calls for and scheduling phase 1A vaccinations. And we need them to be able to focus on that in the short term.
Now, here in Oregon, we learned this week that the second dose of vaccines has begun for frontline healthcare workers. Now, in comparison to Washington State, Oregon has administered over 61,000 vaccines. Reporting live, Jacqueline Abad, KOIN 6 News.
Jacqueline, thank you. And now when it comes to your stimulus check, we're learning millions of those recent checks accidentally went to invalid, even closed bank accounts. And one local woman told us that she noticed her check didn't show up in her bank account, and that's when she decided to track the check using the IRS website. Well, she found out her $600 payment was deposited into an account she didn't recognize. She thinks her stimulus cash actually went to a rapid refund account that she had H&R Block set up 3 years ago.
I found out that people with TurboTax and H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, even if it was 3 years ago, if they ever had a rapid refund through those, that your stimulus may have gone to their bank. And we have to wait a couple of days maybe, and they'll shoot it back to our original bank. And some people don't have that.
On the IRS website, the IRS is acknowledging the mistake, but now you're wondering, how do you get the money if this happened to you? We checked to get you some answers, and so by law, the banks do have to send the payment back to the government. The IRS says that it is not going to resend the payment to you, so that means if you don't receive your stimulus check by the time you do file your 2020 taxes, then you must claim the recovery rebate credit onto your tax return.
And then we have this, the Oregon Employment Department still working to implement federal legislation that extends unemployment benefits. Lindsay Nadrich got an update for us. What did they tell you, Lindsay?
Well, the Oregon Employment Department says that as of yesterday, 122,000 people have already been paid the $300 weekly federal benefit that was created by the relief bill. That's now available through March 13th. But they're still working to get that federal benefit out to everyone. The federal legislation also extended both the pandemic unemployment assistance and pandemic emergency compensation programs for 11 weeks. So far, OED says they've been able to continue benefits for about 59,000 people without any interruption in payments. They said they hope to issue payments to others in that group who are still waiting this week or next week. Here's what Acting Director David Gerstenfeld said when we asked why there's a delay in paying some people.
Where it can be complicated as to whether they just can continue getting new benefits under the old program or if they need to go to a new program. Those are seeing a delay. Adding the additional weeks of benefits to an existing program does take additional IT work to implement those changes.
We also got an update today on the number of people still waiting for their claim to be adjudicated. OED identified 52,000 claims as of September 30th that were stuck there. They set a goal to get through that group by the end of the year. Of those, about 150 claims are left. But we learned today there are a total of about 13,000 people still waiting for their claims to be adjudicated. OED said implementing the new federal legislation will not slow down their progress getting through those 13,000 claims where people are still waiting. Reporting live, I'm Lindsay Nadrich, KOIN 6 News.
Lindsay, thank you. It is a rainy Wednesday, and Natasha is tracking just how much rain we're getting right now. Natasha?
We've seen a lot of rain come through just in the last 2 to 3 hours. Current conditions in Portland, still some light rain here, 47 degrees, and your temperature will remain in the mid-40s going all the way to about 10 o'clock tonight. Wind right now out of the southeast at 9 miles per hour. This is your accumulated rainfall since midnight. Most of this, though, falling from early this afternoon up until now. 6/10 of an inch for you, Vancouver, almost a half inch. Portland, out towards the coast, 3/4 of an inch, and almost 9/10 of an inch for you out towards Newport. This is what we've seen over the last 2 hours. We have what's called a shortwave trough, so it's a little bundle of energy coming through, and that helped enhance our rainfall rates. And that started right around 2 o'clock coming through Portland, but moving at a very slow pace. We're talking about a really fast run at this point, so there might be some localized flooding in some of those streets that are tough to drain. Precipitation rates anywhere from about 1 inch to 2 inches an hour. You can see what's highlighted right here in red, right around Vancouver and the Philida neighborhood. This is where you're running into some downpours up and down I-5 out past Battleground as well. Next system looks really impressive and rather intimidating, but it's heading towards the north. But we will be tapping into some of this moisture right here as soon as we get to tomorrow night. In between, though, we have a nice little break. In fact, a little bit of ridging trying to take over, which will give us a break from the rain tomorrow. How much rain, though, could we see just from overnight tonight through early tomorrow morning? We might be able to pick up another 1/4 inch. Thursday dry, then we're back to it on Friday. Saturday dry, Sunday back to more rain. So after all that, we're looking at an additional 1 to 1.5 inches of rain here for the valley. There's your 7-day forecast. Temperatures tomorrow about 52. Partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. That'll be nice. And then another dry break for you on Saturday. Otherwise, it's back to more rain as usual.
All right. Always looking out for those breaks for us, Natasha. Thank you. Coming up.